let's grow together. Thank you very much. Okay, so at those points, I will be sharing my screen. So let me throw up my screen. Confirm my screen is up, please.
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. So thank you very much. So I will be sharing. Let me go to my slide. Aha, good. So please confirm you can see my slide now.
Yes, we can see your slide.
Okay, so thank you very much. So I want to welcome all of us to the week 3 of our journey, Microsoft Data Days. So this is the data engineering track. So engineer data with Microsoft Fabric. And the title of the course is DP700, Fabric Data Engineering. And this is put together by Data and AI Skill Development Initiative. Once again, I am Ayodeji Folarin. So I'm one of the facilitators on this track. And on this call with me, we also have June on this call. She is also facilitating the data engineering track. So, and I am a Microsoft certified trainer and also a Microsoft most valued professional on data platform. And I've been in this data journey for about 30 years now. So let us go into the business of the day. So today we want to talk about ingest and transform data. Ingest and transform data. As data engineers, what exactly are we expected to do? If you call yourself data engineer, a company may engage you, but your major work in that company is to assist all other data professionals because the company has different data storages here and there. Some of their data is on SQL Server, some is on Microsoft Excel, some is in the cloud, maybe MySQL, and some is on SharePoint. Some is on Microsoft Azure Cloud Storage, Microsoft Azure, and so on. Now, there is need for this company to have a single source of truth for their reporting. They need to be able to leverage on a particular source to get information. Not that I need information, I will stress people managing the SQL to give me, they gave me parts. I will not stress people managing the SharePoint server to give me another part. No, there is need for us to have a single source of truth. And that single source of truth is a database or a data warehouse that we always call OLAP, Online Analytical Process. The data that we have within this system is for this purpose of reporting. For the purpose of reporting. You will want a report that will make sense to everybody. And I need to generate that report on the fly. So it is not proper to start connecting to all these data sources to get my report. Why? Number one problem is that all these sources, we call them transactional data source. Transactional. The activity going on there is very, 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 very rapid. As somebody is uploading something, somebody is modifying, somebody is deleting, so many things is happening within our database. Let us take a bank as an example. I step into the bank, and immediately I step into the bank, I deposited some money into my account. Few minutes, I did a mobile transfer from my account to another account. That transaction is always volatile, it is changing immediately. Now, if somebody should call the bank and ask, can you tell me the balance for Mr. Ayodeji Folari? He now said at the moment, his balance is $7,000. His balance is $7,000. That was because before that time, I had just $3,000 there, and I went into the bank hall to deposit $4,000. At the moment, the value is $7,000. But when, after giving that report, just few seconds after that time, I did a mobile transfer to somebody. I transferred 500 US dollar. My balance is now 6,500 US dollars. Then there is already a problem. So that is why we don't give reports from this type of database. We rather reports from a data warehouse. Now, how can we get data from the source to the destination? Not just getting it from the source to the destination. During that movement of bringing data from the source to the destination, there is need for us to make sure that the data set is fit for use. There is need for us to make sure that the data set is fit for use. And to make the data set fit for use, we do what we call transformation. We transform the flow of the data. Now, the first thing as data engineers, you have to identify all the data sources. One, you have to provision where you want to dump the data, your storage. You have to provision your storage. Two. Number three, you have to move that data from the data source into the storage, but along the line, you can go ahead and transform it so that it will be what? It will be fit for use. This process is what we call extract, transform, and load into the warehouse. But some organizations, they prefer to do extract, load, and finally what? Transform the data. Our work is to support data analysts, data scientists, all other data users that leverage on data for the sake of insights, foresight, modeling, and so on. And if we do not do our work correctly, then there will be a big challenge. That is why we are looking at this course, DP700. And if you can follow this series all through, and you are opportune to win a free voucher from Microsoft to do the professional exam. And if you can do the exam and pass the exam, I want to congratulate you. You are already a data engineer to go out there and do wonders. So let us go. What we are going to cover today. Today, we want to look at ingest and transform batch data. Batch. Again, we want to look at ingest and transform stream data. And finally, we want to design and implement a loading pattern. The pattern to do our loading, our ETL. We want to actually work around that. Okay, now, DP700 skill recap. Let me quickly talk about this. Microsoft Certified Fabric Data Engineer Certification is titled DP700 and is an intermediate certification exam. And your role after this certification exam is to be a data engineer. As a candidate for this exam, you should have subject matter expertise with data loading pattern, data architecture, data orchestration process, and your responsibility for this role includes the following. You should be able to ingest data. Ingest data. Don't forget what I said. You should be able to ingest data. Not only ingesting it, you should be able to transform the data. So that is what we are doing heavily today. Again, not just doing ingesting and transforming data, you should be able to secure and manage analytics solution. And not just securing it, you should be able to monitor and optimize. So today and next week, we should be done with these parts. The upper week, we'll be going into securing and managing analytics solution. Finally, we'll be monitoring, and we are going to prepare ourselves for the professional exam. So that is that. So for this week, we are focusing on ingesting and transforming data. So you should be skilled at manipulating and transforming data by using SQL. So please, for those of us that don't know SQL or you are new to SQL 100%, there is another track going on. Try to watch out for their video. I think DP800, if I'm not making mistake, DP800 is another track that is running. So that track is SQL and AI. So you can look at that. Maybe you can get a good leverage on that. And there are a lot of tutorials that can get you up and running on SQL on YouTube. And also, you should have knowledge around Python, PySpark. So good knowledge of Python will be a plus to us in this class. If you don't have any knowledge, please start building yourself on SQL and PySpark. And you should have good knowledge of KQL, Crystal Query Language. And I love what Microsoft Platform did for us. If you are good in SQL, you can write your SQL and easily translate it back to KQL. But it's always good to learn. So I want to encourage you, try to do all this learning on your own. This class will not go into all this. We are going to use it. So by the time you see me typing some SQL script or Python script or KQL script, I don't want us to be lost. So I need you to get yourself up to a stage. Now, so the DP700 skill index. So the skill index we are looking at today covers 30 to 35% of the exam. So if your exam is from 0 to 100, so this is already about 30 to 35%. So if you can understand what you are doing today, I tell you, if you do the exam, you've already scored about 30%. And the pass mark for Microsoft exam is 70%. So the journey is still far. So don't miss any of the track and get ready for this exam or preparation for this exam. Now, we are talking about ingest and transform batch data. Batch data. Now, when we talk about ingesting and transforming batch data, what are we talking about? Please, I want you to understand that big data solution often consists of discrete batch processing tasks that contribute to the overall data processing solution. You can use batch processing for workloads that don't require immediate access to insights. Batch processing can complement real-time processing requirements. You can also use batch processing to balance complexity and reduce costs for your overall implementation. What am I saying here? I have in my organization, we have transactional data that happen is so volatile that it happens. Transaction enter every minute, seconds. It's so heavy. We work all the time. I cannot be processing this as the entire year. I want to wait maybe till 12 midnight. 12 midnight. By 12 midnight, I want to trigger a process that will collect the data, quickly process the data, and quickly report the data for anybody to see. Now, on the report, this is as at yesterday. That is today, T minus 1. Anything you see here, it is as at yesterday. Now, the transaction here will continue for another 24 hours. By 12 midnight, it's going to do the same thing, move those updated data or the entire data back into the model and into our reports. So anything you see, if today is 4th of June, for example, whatsoever you see here is as at 3rd of June, because the transaction after 12 midnight is still waiting here for the next 24 hours before it will move here. This type of operation is what we call the batch operation. It has its advantage and it has its disadvantage. There are a lot of advantages and disadvantages around batch. If your operation does not require immediate processing, immediate insights, immediate analysis, please let it go with batch to save costs and many other things. But if your operation needs to be processed as it is getting the data, please, batch will not work. Today in this class, I'm still going to talk about real time. There are two things we'll talk about, but let's settle batch processing. The fundamental requirement of batch processing engine is to scale out computation to handle a large volume of data. Unlike real-time processing, batch processing has latency or time between data ingestion, data computing, and the results. Maybe 24 hours from the example I just painted now. There is a delay. But if it's real time, you don't have any delay. The delay can be minutes, hours, or days. Microsoft offers several services that you can use to do batch processing. You may already be familiar with some of them on Microsoft Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure Databricks, but today we are talking about how to do this within Fabric. So that is what we are looking at today. Let me move on to my next slide. Let's quickly talk about loading data to Fabric. If you want to load data to Fabric, your loading can come in different ways. And what are the things that governs you, that guides you when loading data to database? Number one, you must have a good understanding of your data storage options. The data you are bringing into Fabric, how do you intend to store the data? Do you want to store the data in Lakehouse? I remember last week, John demonstrated to us how to set up a workspace, how to create a sample Lakehouse, and she even transferred data into the Lakehouse. She ingested data into the Lakehouse using the low-code approach, low-code. That's for citizen developer. But there are other approaches you can get to do this. So one of the storage is Lakehouse. And when we talk about Lakehouse, what exactly is Lakehouse? Lakehouse is ideal for storing large volume of raw data in its native formats. It supports various data types and it's highly scalable. So the major reason that makes people to go for Lakehouse is the different data type that you can store here. Different data type, various. Let me write various here so that it will be easy for us to understand. This allows for various data types. So that is for Lakehouse. But why should I choose warehouse? Again, for Lakehouse, it is highly scalable. You can scale up or scale down. I love Lakehouse for that. Let me type scalability. Scalable. Now, why do you go for warehouse? All this thing I'm laying emphasis on, expect them in the exam, I beg you. Data warehouse It's best for large-scale data warehousing and analytics. It integrates with other Azure services and provide powerful analytic capability. So when we talk about analyzing your structured data and what already integrates with all other Azure services, data warehouse is superb. And don't forget, it's best for large scale data warehousing. Large, let me put it there. Large scale data warehousing. And number 3, what is SQL database? I think they just added this one not too long compared to the first two. SQL database, what is this doing for us? It is suitable for structured, 100% structured. It's suitable for structured data that require transactional consistency and supports complex queries. That is that. It supports complex queries and it is structured, just like our normal Azure SQL database that we have on Azure platform. You can spin up an SQL database within Fabric to keep your structured data that comes in. So that is that. And number 2, when talking about loading data to Fabric, you must choose the right option. Do you want a lake house? Do you want a warehouse or do you want SQL? So let me paint some scenarios for us. Lake house. I want you to use this when you need to store diverse data type. Remember I mentioned various data type and data formats. The data comes in different formats: CSV, PDF, package, data, and so on. And when you plan to perform big data analytic or ML or machine learning, then go for lake house. If you want to choose warehouse for large-scale data warehousing, especially when you need to integrate with other Azure services and perform advanced analytics, some serious analytics, then go for warehouse. And finally, when should I go for what's it called? SQL database. Go for SQL database when you need to manage structured data with ACID property. I know we still know the feeling of ACID. If you don't know and you're in this class, there's challenge. So assignment for you. What is ACID in database property? Somebody should tell me that. Now, and require support for complex query and transactions. If you really need to work on complex query transactions and you need a database that is well structured, then please go for SQL database. So we are going to see all these things as we demonstrate shortly, but this is what you're going to see. So working with your lake house in Fabric. So in your lake house, you can have different things here. You can store data as a file. Look at example, a CSV data was stored. You can store data as table in a lake house. You can store like a table. So that is package or data file. So stored as a table like sales. So that is one. And also you can actually interact with your data using your normal SQL query. So that is that. And also you can also leverage on, I'm trying to see what we have. Okay, the warehouse embedded within, your lake house also has its own default way of keeping its data ready for reporting and visualization. So ready for reporting and visualization. We are going to see that shortly. Let us leave Lakehouse. So let us work with warehouse in Fabric. When you get to Microsoft Fabric, there is Lakehouse. You can also create what you call a warehouse. So in your warehouse, Fabric Data Warehouse are centered on single data lake, powered by Synapse Analytics, fully supporting TSQL, package file formats. Fabric Data Warehouse is a relational data warehouse that supports TSQL capabilities. That is what you do within your lake house. Within your warehouse. Now, let us see. I can write my full SQL script within my data warehouse. It is allowed. And also, within my data warehouse, I can actually build for myself a visual query editor. If I don't want to edit my work using SQL scripts for data analysis or data that's insights, this one is just like our SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio, or Azure, what do you call it? Azure Data Studio, correct. So it is just like that. I can interact with my database using this. And within the warehouse, I can equally interact with the database using the visual query editor. So the visual query editor, this is how the interface looks like. You can drag and drop, you can do some quick things, you can filter, you can transform easily. You can bring in a column, replace something, and do some wonderful things here. And also still within the SQL data warehouse, we can actually build a relationship, establish a relationship. So all these things, you can do them easily within your data warehouse. So finally, let us look at working with SQL database in Fabric. So SQL database in Fabric, what is it doing for us? Any questions so far? Let me be sure we are all on this call. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. David.
Oh, okay. Please, if you're having any question, feel free to raise your hand. Just show by raise of hand. I may not see this other part of the screen, but no problem. I have the other facilitator on this call, or go to Q&A and drop your question on the Q&A. So we're definitely going to attend to you. So the time is flying. Let's continue. Okay, so when we talk about working with SQL database in Fabric, Fabric SQL database uses the same Azure infrastructure as Azure SQL database. Is the same thing, ensuring reliability, security, performance. It integrates with the Fabric platform, allowing seamless use of Fabric capabilities over operational data. While Fabric and OneLake use data packet format, SQL database maintain the old traditional SQL format for performance and compatibility. So data is mirrored to OneLake, enabling use across all Fabric analytic workload without really doing any ETL process. So SQL database in Fabric are serverless and managed by fleets of managers, which handles provisioning, scalability. This simplifies database management and ensure automatic scalability for compute and storage. application connection are routed directly to the SQL database service for optimal performance. So use SQL database in Fabric to provide the advantage of integrated analytics and operational data management within the same platform, reducing the need for separating
Deji,
system. Yes.
we have a raised hand.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sheyi, please go ahead.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So when I recall when you're talking about the lake house, you mentioned scalability, and then now also talking about SQL database. So I just want to understand the context of the scalability. I mean, what I understand is it infrastructure scale? Because I understand that this should be the lake house should be as a service. So I just want to understand when you say scale in what is it in terms of infrastructure, in terms of speed, in terms of what?
Okay. Now, when you're talking about scalability, the first thing that should come to mind is being able to adjust to the growth of the organization data storage. I don't know if you're getting my points. So
Okay.
being able to adjust, being able to still serve you very well as the company is growing, scaling up, the infrastructure you have, is it still serving you, or at a point you need to abandon that infrastructure and go for another infrastructure? So that is simply scalability. I remember I mentioned scalability when I was talking about the lake house. It's very, very scalable and it can fit into whatsoever you do. And if you are used to SQL Server database on Azure platform, that is exactly what we are talking about when we are talking about SQL DB on Fabric. So the same scalability, the same optimization you have there, you still have them here. So it's exactly the same thing. So Sheyi, I don't know if I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, please.
Okay, so thank you very much. Now, let's move on to my next slide. Okay, so whenever we are talking about the, what's it called? The SQL DB on Fabric, it's not just provisioning the database. So it can also do for you the source control integration in Fabric. So you can do what you call, you can integrate easily with some web interface, GitHub and Azure DevOps. That is from your for source control. If you make any modification, I can commit, I can do whatsoever I want to do. So for those of us that know about DevOps or GitHub, this is a very, very perfect DB that can work easily for us. And also database code editing using your developer tool. You can do your editing using developer tool directly, like using your VS Code, Visual Studio, or any SQL project you have, application the ID that you can use to interact or work with this. Now, we are talking about batch data ingestion tool. What are the tools you can use when we talk about batch ingestion? We can use Apache Spark, which is your notebook and your Spark job. So I remember during our last class, John actually explained all these things to us. And also, we can use SQL Analytic endpoints. We can use Dataflow Gen 2. She used this, I remembered. She used pipeline. She demonstrated this tool to us. So that's why I said, if you are still having challenges demonstrating all what we have done, please go through the video. It's on the WhatsApp group chats. It's on YouTube. Just get the link and go to the video on YouTube. Please visit those videos and try to demonstrate. If you have challenges, drop your comment on the WhatsApp before next Saturday. Let us relate. Let us work together on this. So, and we can also use shortcuts. So these are different ways. When we are talking about batch data ingestion, you can also use what? Shortcuts to achieve all this. So, And to make it easier to explain, I would rather come and use this table for us. Ingestion guide. So use case. I don't know if any of you wants to grab this screen. This is a wonderful screen. Or if you don't want to grab, you can just type this on your browser, aka.ms/fabric discussion guide. This is good. So you will gain access to this page. This is a summary of all you need to know when you talk about ingesting data. Do you want to use data pipeline copy activity? Do you want to use Dataflow Gen 2? Do you want to use Spark? If you are going with data pipeline or copy activity, then the use case, data lake and warehouse migration, data ingestion, lightweight transfer. But when you are talking about Dataflow Gen 2, what always comes to mind, number one, is these parts, no code or low code. If you are the type that you are scared of code, please, why not go, when you talk about data ingestion, why not go for things like this? Or you can use data pipeline if you are scared of code. I think these two have been demonstrated during our last class. This is the one we are waiting for. And by next class, we don't have option. I expected us to have gotten some little knowledge of Python or SQL if you don't know at all, because we want to do the same thing we'll do using these two approach, using Spark. So yeah, you will need to write no code here as well. But when you talk about Spark, then you don't have option. You must write code. Now, the developer interface, you have some wizard, some assistants that will assist you to achieve your work here. I remember last class, John used copy activity wizard to actually complete the process without stressing her. Or you have access to the canvas where you can be dragging and dropping and be doing some property settings. Yeah, the same power query you have in Excel and Power BI is what you have here. So you are not really, the interface is so sweet, easy to use. But the interface you use, when you talk about Spark, you don't have option, you must use Notebook. Those of us that have been using Jupyter Notebook for Python script and all those stuff, you are welcome. Visual Studio, VS Code, all those things, you are welcome. This is your environment. Or you can go with Spark job definition. Now, another advantage of Dataflow Gen 2, it has over 150 connectors. I remember when John opened that interface last week, we were saying you can get data from so many places under Dataflow Gen 2. But under data pipeline, the number of interface is limited. Just 30 plus interface. I mean, connector, data source connector for data pipeline. For those of us using SSIS or data factory, you will understand what I mean. But for those of us using Power Query, you will see that when you click there, get data, you will see that you can connect from hundreds of data sources. Now, for Spark, you are leveraging on libraries, and there are hundreds of Spark libraries that can allow you interact with different data sources. So we are going to demonstrate some data sources during our next class. Just get to know that. Destination. When you are done extracting the data from the source, where can you dump it? When you talk about Spark, you have libraries also that can help you take it to the destination of your choice. Hundreds of Spark libraries. But Dataflow Gen 2 has few destinations. It can take from so many sources, but the destination can either be in a Lakehouse, Azure SQL Database, Azure SQL Data Explorer, Azure Synapse Analytics, and so on. But when we talk about data pipeline, ADF, so you can actually, you have about 18 plus connectors where you can take your data to. Now, transformation complexity. This is low, lightweight, type conversion, column mapping, and so on. But when you're talking about transformation here, this is from low to high, medium. You can do over 300 powerful transformations here. Over 300 powerful data transformations can be done using Power Query. For those that will be using Power Query, you will really appreciate that wow, I can do so many amazing things. And when you are talking about Spark, you can do a lot of transformation. All this still depends on the library available to you. So support for different libraries. So all the libraries available to you, you can actually get all these things done. So that is that. Now, I want us to look at the primary developer skill. So the skill set you need here is to understand ETL, SQL, JSON. But when we talk about when we talk about ETL, Dataflow Gen 2, we are talking about ETL, mQuery. That's the query that's the way we do our transformation using within Power Query. It's called mQuery. Or your skill, you also need some good knowledge of what? Of SQL. Yeah, it will give you a good leverage. So, but when we talk about Apache Spark, you don't have option. You must know one of these 5 programming language: Scala, Python, Spark, SQL, R. I thought there are 5. Okay, let us stop there. Now, the primary developer persona. So that is data engineer and data integrator. But when we talk about Dataflow Gen 2, data engineer, data integrator, and business analyst. But for who are those that really use Apache Spark? They are the data engineers, they are the data scientists, and data developers, people that know more around coding. So this has given us an holistic view of what this is all about. So we have to go into the demo section, but because I want to complete my theory today, so, and some of this demo section was done by June last week. So I need you to also get your profile up and running and try out those ones. So let me go into the next one. The next one, we are talking about ingest and transform streaming, real time, as it is happening, real time analysis. That is what we talk about here. And remember, I painted a scenario during the first class. Jane did the second class. The first class, I said real time. Imagine a scenario where in a very big, massive hospital, in this hospital, there is a section in the hospital called ICU. I don't know the meaning of ICU. Please, what is ICU? Anybody on the call? Unmute and tell me the meaning of ICU. What's ICU?
Intensive care unit.
Thank you. So the intensive care unit, the hospital has over 200 rooms for intensive care units. And each room has a device connected to the patient in the ICU. Now, they now ask you as a data engineer, because the office of the CMD, I think that's Chief Medical Director, if I'm not making a mistake, that the CMD should have a screen, and on the screen, it should be seeing what is happening in each of the room on his dashboard. This is a dashboard. That if the blood pressure, temperature, I don't know what that is they measure, sugar level, I don't know, permit me, I'm not a medical student, please. If there's anything that spike above normal, quickly show that room so is reading this blood pressure immediately. and they now engage a data engineer. The data engineer connected everything through an ETL process, extract, transform, and load. And instead of it to use a streaming analytics, he decided to use batch analytics that collect everything, keep them till 12 midnight. By 12 midnight, go and show it on the CMD dashboard. What happened 24 hours ago. Now, what do you think will happen? Somebody should unmute. If you understand my story, what do you think will happen in this scenario?
Elewo, he go jail. He's a murderer.
Thank you very much. The person is ready to sleep in the jail. Because it's a crazy approach to this type of analysis. Now, what am I trying to say? There are some analysis that cannot wait a second. As it is happening, process it. In that case, we are not going to do batch. Rather, we'll do online. As you are picking it, as everything is coming from here, each of the room as they are coming, enter through an event hub. Once you enter, as the result is coming, start showing on the dashboard. Don't wait for anything. And activator, trigger something immediately. I'm going to talk about all these things. And Jane will also demonstrate to us today. I hope I will have enough time to give to her to demonstrate all these sweet things to us. So let me move to my next slide. Real-time intelligence in Fabric. When we talk about real-time intelligence, what are we talking about? Number one, your data source, like the example I gave, this, let's assume this is the ICU. It can be IoT device, Internet of Things. It can be cameras, it can be anything. But as information is coming, don't wait. Treat it immediately. So within Fabric, what do? We ingest it into what we call event stream. So what is event stream? Event stream is a real-time data stream injection and transformation. As it is entering, it's ingesting, it's transforming. It's not waiting for a particular time before transforming it. As it is happening, it's ingesting and transforming the process. Now, there's what we call event house. Event stream is a transformation, ingestion and transformation process. The event house is a scalable storage and querying of a real-time data. Storage and querying of a real-time data. That is the event house. Now, we have what we call KQL. So, just like SQL, we don't use SQL for event streaming. We use KQL because this handles your query as it comes. So a tool for creating and running queries in the KQL database. So that is the tool you use to run our queries within the KQL database that is in the event house. So as it is coming, the storage is here in the event house. In the event house, I can use KQL to interact, to query. And there is what we call real-time dashboard, showing me what is happening within my event house. And I can also, if I don't want to use the real-time dashboard, I can connect Power BI to the event house to build my own reports and connect an activator to it. Activator is like trigger something when something happens. When you see the blood pressure of anybody in any of the 200 rooms going above, permit me, somebody don't go and quote me, going above 200, I don't need correct blood pressure, going above 200 by 100, please send a mail, trigger, show. Don't just visualize, act immediately, do something. So that is that. So this is what we call, okay, activator. Activator is an automated action triggered by a real-time event. Based on what you see on the event, trigger something out for people to see. And real-time dashboard, that's an interactive visualization and exploration of real-time data. Visualization and exploring the real-time data. I hope I'm not too fast. Okay, so how to do ingest and transform real-time data using event stream. I will allow the demo to talk about this. Permit me to skip to the next one. Store and query real-time data in events house. We will do all these things, and you can visualize your real-time data. So using the real-time dashboard, or you prepare your own Power BI dashboard. Any of the two is allowed. But using the real-time dashboard, component of Fabric is already within Fabric, and interactive data visualization ties based on the KQL queries that you have issued. You can quickly be seeing what is happening in dashboard. Or Power BI, component of Fabric platform, create Power BI reports from the KQL database. From the database, where is the diagram again? From the database, you can prepare your Power BI report straight up. So, and use activator to automate some action. Is a trigger. So when something happens, something should happen. Each record in a stream of data represents an event. So model real world or conceptual objects based on data value. Define rules based on condition to trigger action. You define the rule that will trigger. I'm talking about activator now. So what are the rules? For example, if something is above 200 blood pressure, 200 blood pressure by 100, I don't know, something should then happen. Now, use field data value to define object properties and reference them from multiple rules. So manage data source in the real-time of. So at this point, we want to design and implement loading pattern. So I'm going to stop here. So how do we do data loading in Fabric? We want to design it, implement it. As data engineers, you have to understand one thing. How do you want to load data from the source to the destination? There are three types. Number one is full load. Number two is incremental load. Number four is real-time load. I don't think I need to talk about this again. Everybody understand the meaning of real-time. Real-time load as it is happening. Please process it. Don't wait. Real-time load simply means real-time analytics, event-driven application like your IoT devices to capture the IoT data. But when we talk about incremental load, this is regular updates. What are the updates? If there's updates in the database, large database is massive, and data warehousing, that is when you use incremental. Let me give you a real life scenario for incremental. I have a company that has a database. The database has about, sorry, after billion, trillion, right? After trillion, what's the next one? Unmute so if you understand me. Analysts, engineers in the house. After
trillion,
billion is
quadrillion,
million. After trillion is what?
quadrillion.
Quadrillion.
Quadrillion. Okay, you are the one that said that. Let's continue. Now, we have 7 quadrillion data sets sitting in this database. And I am asked as an engineer to create a data pipeline, an ETL process, that will move this data into the data warehouse so that anybody that wants to build the report, data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, data modelers, database, all of them can be using this. This one is to serve the operation that happen in the company. And the operation, every second, millions of data is entering the database. And you decide to do what we call full load for your ETL. The meaning of full load, maybe they ask you to be transferring the data every 6 hours. Every 6 hours, please make sure that we have the updates here. anything we have done, the update should be in the warehouse every 6 hours. We cannot wait for 24 hours. So if you check the report 6 hours after, we must get the updated information. And you said no problem. You decide to implement what you call full load. Full load is this is a large database, and for it to move one QT, it will take 1 hour. Assumption, please don't quote me. It will take 1 hour to move one QT. Now, the QT has increased to how many? 7. It's still busy loading. And 6 hours has counted. It will go and start again because it said full load. Full load means start copying from the beginning till the end. He has not finished, and 6 hours hits. It will start again. Nobody will enjoy that infrastructure. Even if it's taking 1 hour for 2 QT, that means because it is 7 and 1 hour for each QT, it's going to complete it in 3.5 hours. Before the system, for 3.5 hours, the system is busy. The server is hot, burning for moving this data from year to year. Your network has suffered for 3.5 hours. Barely another 2.5 hours, it will start the process again. The network cannot breathe. Everybody in the company will be complaining. You can't do that because this data is large database. You cannot be doing full load. What do we do here? We do incremental. For the first time, look at it, initial data migration. For the first time, I will allow it to do the full load for the first time. He has loaded the 7 QT to this place. And going forward, after that time, I will not do full load again. I'll be doing incremental load for the remaining. What are the new things they've just added? Or what are the things they've changed in the database? Then I can leverage on incremental. Incremental will look for changes or look for what? New things that was added. Only those ones will be moved. And within a space of 30 minutes, it has completed it instead of stressing the server for 4 hours on every move because I want to implement full load. So what are the use cases for full load? If you are doing the initial migration or the data is small or data refresh, you want to refresh the entire data, then use full load. But if there's a regular update happening and the database is large, is massive, please don't try full load. You'll cause trouble. Go for incremental load. And read time, we already talked about read time. What are the advantages of full load? It's very simple to implement. That's why most people prefer to come and use full load. Very, very easy. It will pack all the data again. Anytime it's coming, it's packing the entire data to overwrite. It will delete what is here, pack this one again. So you can beat your chest that the old data you have there is correct. It's easy, simple to implement. Ensure complete data consistency. That's one of the advantage. But when you talk about incremental load, it has its own advantage. Number one, it reduces data transfer and processing time. Instead of 6 hours, it will do it in 30 minutes. Imagine. Efficient use of resources. It will not kill your network, your bandwidth. It will not kill everything. Efficiently will manage your resources. Because if you are paying per minute for transferring data or storage, then you understand that you will not try using full load for every data set.
Mr. Dicking,
Yes.
you have a question.
Oh, please
Shay.
help me read the question.
Okay, no, Shay wants to speak. His hand is
Oh,
raised.
Shay, please.
Quickly.
All right, okay. So in the course of the week, I actually tried the incremental load with SharePoint.
Okay.
Initially, so when you are creating that, you have an option of ID, maybe what column do you want to tie that, maybe that changes to. So what the time, because initially I was having issue, later I was able to figure it out. But just for clarity, what actually determine which column maybe because I used the modified date and then it later worked. So which means that I made a modification in the data, one of the data, and then at the next run, I discovered that, I mean, that update, actually showed up in the lake house. But I want to know
Correct.
what determine which column to actually tie to that incremental.
Fine. So it's not, is you that understand the data that will know the column you are going to pick. For example, there are some transactions in my database. There are some columns that I don't need to monitor. Now, the reason why people run away from incremental is what you just mentioned now. It requires tracking changes. What columns always change? There are some columns that will not change. What columns always change? And there are some columns, the changes is of no use for my reporting sake. And also, it is more complex to implement. So at least I'm happy that somebody tried it out. But if you are using full load, you don't need to be setting anything. It's just yours truly. But don't worry, during the course of this training, we are going to lay our hands on all those things. And I'll give you reason based on a scenario. I don't have any use case, a scenario data set here. I would have been able to start breaking things down. So Shay, remind me when we're implementing, when we are on the hands-on section. Is that clear? Okay. So at this point, we have seen the incremental load. The advantage is there, the disadvantage is there. Because it is difficult to implement, complex to implement, people run away from it. But you can't run away from it because it has its own advantages. But when we talk about full load, it has its own disadvantage. So high data transfer and processing time. You keep moving massive data all the time, and the time is being wasted. Potential performance impact, it impacts on your work, on source and destination system. So this is not, it depends. I've taken my time to explain all this to us. Finally, how to implement this in Fabric. Within Fabric, when we talk about full load, to do your full load, you can use Azure, Data Factory, you can use Dataflow Gen 2, and you can use Notebook. When you talk about incremental load, sure, you can use the same thing. You can do incremental load on Data Factory. This was demonstrated to us by Jane last week, but she did full load. She only showed us incremental, but she demonstrated full load. So we are still going to demonstrate to you how to use all this. And you can also use Notebook. But when we talk about real-time load, you cannot use these two for real-time load. You can only use Notebook. You can use Event Hub or Event Stream. So we are going into the demo section now. So for the next few minutes, about 20 minutes thereabouts, I will want Joan to run us through introduce us. She has introduced us to the Bash one. Let her introduce us to the real-time approach. So by next week, we are not doing any lecture. We are getting our hands dirty. And before that time, I want us to prepare ourselves. Make sure you have the platform. I deliberately did not want to do every demo today because some of us still complain we don't have access to Fabric. So I'm going to, if you don't want to use our platform, you can create your own account. I'm going to share on the WhatsApp group how you can create your own Fabric account, your free Fabric account. But I want us to use the same tenants for monitoring sake. I want to see what we are doing, and you have to share your workspace with me so I can be part of what you are doing. So that is that. So the demo section will be coming up very soon. Don't forget, start preparing for the exam today. Don't wait. And if you want to prepare for the exam, you can write down this on your notebook, aka.ms/dp700/prepare. Get your hands-on section right. Review available prep resources. There are a lot of resources on Microsoft Learn. Complete Microsoft Learn module. This same module is on Microsoft Learn. Try to make sure you complete it. If you have questions, bring it to this house. It's 8 weeks. You have enough time to prepare. Start preparing. Don't wait till after the training. And take the practice assessment on the platform and join our community on Fabric. join our community on Fabric, join our community on WhatsApp, join our community on Meetup. Let us help ourselves grow and let us deliver value to the data engineering industry worldwide. At this point, I want to say thank you very much for having me take us through this section. And I hope there is no question for me. Thank you, Jane. Any question? Oh, Nafisa, I appreciate. Thank you very much. So if there is no question, this is 7:22. So John,
I have
please
a
over
question.
to you. Oh, please go ahead, Moses.
Okay, so thank you very much for this session. So the thing is that I checked the link, the barcode that you displayed. So
Okay.
it's actually taking one to PL300, not DP700.
Oh, PL 300.
Yes, that's actually what it's showing.
That should be a mistake. Okay, my screen is still shared. Let me confirm
Okay.
that page. Just a moment, please. Let me confirm the page. Let me copy the link. Where is my presentation slide? Thank you for that observation. I would have said we are good. So let me quickly, so aka.ms/dp700 prepare. So why are you not taking me to PL300? I'm trying to load that URL. Okay. Okay. It's still trying to load. This is 700 though. Sorry, where did you click? Please, the URL I gave you is correct. aka.ms/dp700. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, it's correct.
Okay, what I think is he mentioned was the barcode, the QR code, I mean. So the QR code is the one that has the
Sorry.
wrong link.
Forget the QR code. Use my link. I'm not sure of the QR code, but this link is correct. I thought I got the correct QR code. Sorry about that. Please use this URL, aka.ms/dp700/prepare. So any other question before Joan take over? Any other question? So if there is no question, so Joan, you have the floor. Oh, Sheyi, your hand is up.
Okay, one more question, sir.
Please go
Okay,
ahead.
observation. So I don't know if there's a way around it. So I observed that when you create a lake house and then you have that DB under the tree, I mean, so every data you ingest goes into that, so it comes in more or less like a table. So is there a way one can categorize, okay, maybe you want to maybe have something like a group or something, or everything is like, when you have an SQL, a DB, so under the table, everything just come in as a table. So even if it's SharePoint, it's SQL, even whatever thing you ingest into that, just come in as a table. So is there a way one can group or something? That's mine.
So you can set up a schema for table. You set up schema. Hope you know what I mean. Hope you know what I mean by schema, Sheyi.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by schema.
A schema can serve as a group to group together related tables for you. You can use that.
Okay.
But it's not compulsory they come as a table. They can come as files. It's you that would let's dictate. They can come as files. If they are coming as file, you don't store them on that table, you store them on that file. And you can create subdirectory. I know Joan did this for us the last time. If it's coming as a file, you can create directories, subdirectories, subdirectories to your taste. But when it's coming in as a table, you can use a schema to group. The default schema is DBO. So it's not compulsory to use the
Okay.
DBO to bring it in.
Oh, all right.
You can set
Okay.
up different schema to hold your table sets. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Okay. So at this point, I hand over to Joan. Joan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Thank you. Take it from there.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Duji. Hello, everyone again. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Mr. Duji has gone through, the theoretical part of what we are going to do today. However, we're just going to start with real-time intelligence, which is event stream. So just give me a moment while I share my screen. Okay, so kindly confirm if you can see my screen. Hello, kindly confirm if you can see my screen, please.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
It's so clear.
Thank you, thank you. I'm just going to minimize this so that I have all the space to do everything I need to do. Okay, so last Saturday we explored copy job, we explored Dataflow Gen 2, and we also explored how to use a pipeline to ingest data. So today we're just everything about today for the rest of our time, because we don't have much time, is just going to center around event stream. Okay, remember what we had mentioned then, after creating your workspace, what do? You create your lakehouse, you create your warehouse as well. And of course, there's a way to do that. Whenever you want to create anything new, all you need to do is just go to this point and then click on new item. So I just did that now. Please kindly mute yourself if you are not asking a question, please. Thank you. All right, so we had, this has been reiterated over and over again on how to actually look for whatever tool you need to work with within Fabric. And remember, I had mentioned once again that we're actually going to explore event stream, yeah? So there are two ways to do that. You can actually just click on here and then go into event stream, or you can actually create an event house first and then stream your data. I would like to go through event house first. So let me just type in for my search button. I'll just type in event house. So you can see here we have event house, So I'm just going to click on that right now. All right, so it's asking us, what are we going to name our event house? Remember, we've been working with Apex Workspace. So it's just actually great to use a name that you can actually remember, a name that's kind of related to your workspace. You can actually choose, whatever name you choose. But for me, and for the purpose of this lesson, I'd rather use Apex Event House. Okay, so I'm just going to click on Create. And it gives you some time to load. All right, so when you open this, it takes you to another interface, which is the event house interface. And then you can also see like a pop-up showing you and just telling you everything that you can do within this space. It said you just created a powerful KQL database workspace for handling and analyzing large volumes of events, whether it's for any type of event, AI applications, or real-time analytics. So just enjoy and explore. So you just click on get started. Yeah. And then it's also, so there's like, it gives you like a walk around. It's just like when you kind of get a new house, you get into a new space, before you actually buy that house, it's important that you have maybe your agents give you a tour around the house. So Fabric also does the same thing. It kind of gives you a tour around your event house. So it's saying that over here, we have our empty database here that was created with the event house. So when you create an event house, it actually creates an empty database for you to actually ingest data within there. And then next, it says you can choose to now add another database. Assuming you have a database elsewhere in your lake house, in the warehouse that you want to work with, you can actually click on this plus button to do that. Yeah, so over here is telling us that, hey, you need to check and balance your storage needs. So whenever you look at you see a system overview, it just shows how the data is stored and managed. That is all in simple terms. I like to use simple terms so that it doesn't get really overwhelming. All right. So down here, I'm just going to do a small scroll. It's saying check your use of resources. Compute minutes refer to the amount of times that computational resources are utilized. So over here, whenever you work with any data, the amount of time it takes to load, everything is actually shown here. I'm just going to scroll that here. Okay. Or the amount of time you're actually working within this environment, it shows you that. And next, at this point, it said, see what, when, and who created, removed, or updated an event house. All right, got it. Awesome. So we are in Apex event house right now. I remember what you said. What we're trying to do is to actually just ingest data, And over here, you can have a live view. I'm just going to click on that. Or you can, this is actually live. You can choose to actually hide it if you want to. You can also get database from here. Still the same thing as when you click on this point. So yeah, and we have our capacity planner here. Just give it some time to load. Yeah, so it's saying when enabled, the service is always available and you pay 100% for the uptime without extra premium storage cost. So it's also important that when you get into your event stream, in fact, generally Fabric, just read through. The beautiful thing about Microsoft is that Microsoft always tries to make it simplify things, gives you like something that you can read through and then understand what you're actually working with. All right, so let's just jump right into demo now. And remember, we have our Apex event house here, and we'll just click on here. And it's when I clicked here, what did it say? So you can open it in a new tab if I choose to, or I can choose to query my data. I can choose to get data. I can choose to also delete if I want to. So yeah, so I can actually choose to open a new tab or do that. But I think it's best I just go to get data. So it's also asking me when I clicked on that arrow, it's saying, do you want to use the sample data? Do you have a local file that you're working with? Are you actually going to one lake where you have like all the data to pick anything you want? Or do you want to actually just, create an event stream, right? And you can actually, if you have your Azure storage, you can just go there, you'll get a link and then connect. Event hubs, Amazon 3. So they're different. Even your pipeline, the pipeline we had created, you can actually choose to actually connect if we had real-time data there. And then you can also click on connect more data sources just to see the array of other data sources that you can work with here. When you click on all, it gives you everything, all the data sources that you can actually link to. You also have Microsoft sources, you have a SQL Server or VMDB, you can do that. Postgres, you can work with that as well. And what else? We have Azure events. So also over here, you can actually connect with Cosmos DB, Azure Event Hub, just the whole array of tools. There's just so much, There's literally no excuse to say, oh, I don't have this, I can't work with this. And then if you want to select sometimes, let's assume, let me disable all this. It goes back to all. And I say, oh, maybe I want to select a certain array just to be sure. And I can click on this. I can click on Fabric events, so as you click on it, just select and filters through. So just like a filter, acts like a filter. Yeah. And yeah, I think that's about that. Let's just go back to all and just close this. And let's just start again. Okay. So we can click on get data and event stream. I can actually click on new event stream. I can click on sample. Let me click on this so you can actually just see what it's like. When I click on this, it shows us our sample data that we can actually work with. Starting, you can actually use this to actually practice and do your any testing. At this point, I'm just going to ask again, if you can hear me, please kindly confirm if you can hear me, please.
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I can't see my chat screen, so that's why I have to ask, just in case so my internet doesn't log me out. All right, so we have different sample data sets here that are real time. We have stock analytics, S&P stocks, weather analytics, IoT analytics, log analytics, metric analytics, automotive operations analytics, and Azure prefab game analytics, game statistics actually. All right, so you can just at this point, I just want to click on stock analytics. Let's see. Let's just explore the data. Give it some time. So this is what it did. Now, after clicking on that, I had clicked on stocks analytics. And right now, it has created a table here and it's showing me all the stocks. Everything here is showing us the time, the opening stock, the high, the low, closing time. You know how the stock market works, especially for those that are into stock market brokering. Adjacent close, volume, ticker, ingestion time, So yeah, this is your system overview. If I click on here again, it takes me to the former place we've been, right? And then if I go back and click on here again, it takes me back to our database, right? And if I want to click on our stocks, I'll just click in here, it takes us back. Okay, so this is like a data activity tracker, which is showing how the data was actually being ingested. Yeah, and these are our table details. You can see that it was originally was 59.4 MB and it's been compressed at this point. Yeah, and this is just an overview of the row counts that we have here, all the amount of rows we have here, and the rows ingested. They're the same, so that's good. What else? So yeah, I think that's about that. Also, so with event stream, if you actually want to do a transformation or analyze data, we actually use a kind of language called KQL, and KQL in full actually means cluster query language. It's a bit similar actually to to SQL, but for me, I think it's a bit actually easier than SQL if you ask me. It's just like natural language is really, really great. SQL is like a natural language too, but this is even simpler. Yeah, so over here, you can still choose to get data and add more data if you want to. You can query with code if you want to, right? So it just gives you has a pop-up that can just, if you want to actually have like a quick show of your result and show you any 100 records ingested in the last 24 hours, get table schema. And when you click on that, it actually shows you the code in KQL. Yeah. And we also have our real-time dashboard. Just click on that. You can see, and then you can now name a dashboard if you want to actually create a dashboard if you want, and then choose your location. I'm also going to click on the KQL query set. Yeah, so let's assume you want like a space where you write all your KQL query, just like SQL. You can actually create that and then add other files within it if you want to. So I'm just going to cancel. Of course, you can connect to a Power BI report. Mr. DJ had mentioned that earlier, so it's also possible to do that. I'm just going to give you some time to load. Let's just wait for it. Yeah, so when you can actually view look at it. This is it. You can imagine. So it's very easy to actually visualize your data in here if you want to. And you can see that, I have all my tables in my file. Everything is just here, okay? I'm just going to cancel from this. Then I'm unable to create an anomaly detector because it's not supported in my time zone, the time zone I'm actually using. And then for those who write code, you can actually create a notebook and then work with a notebook if you want to. You can see that it's taking us to where we can actually write our code. Okay, I'm just gonna cancel this. Okay. Also, you can actually you have files in one lake. You can actually click to actually check for it. It's saying data availability in one lake is currently inactive for table stocks because this is actually a sample data, and then you can actually choose to rename your table, but I'm not going to rename this because this is sample data, so this is not mine. So yeah, and there's so much more. Data policies, edit schema. Let's click on that and see what that tells us. So we can choose to edit the schema. This is the schema we're actually working with right now. You know, everything is here. You can choose to edit it, but I'm not going to edit it. I just want to leave it as E. All right, so let's just go back to our table. Awesome. So I've given you an overview of everything and how this entire space works. Yeah, so I want us to actually just try to query, you know, let's create something, query, do a bit of querying. Let me show you this first. Okay, so we're in here and I clicked on that. It's saying I should take, it says, of course, you know that this is like a markdown, you know, so it use take to view a sample of a sample number of records in the table and check the data. So just like SQL or whenever you're writing any code, you know, this just gives an explanation of what you're doing down here. And you can see that it's really giving us, so it's like an intelligence, which is really amazing. Let me just run this. Let's see what it's going to do. It's saying take 100, but I think 100 is a lot. Let's say take 20. So you know how you say select in SQL. So in KQL, we say take. And I'm just going to run that. Let me just stretch this so that we can see what we have here. So it's giving us 20 logs of our stock data. Let me say 10 so that you can just make it a bit easier. I'm just going to run it again. All right, this is better. So we can see everything, you know, it's showing us the dates, the opening, the high, the low, close, adjacent close, volume, and the ticker, you know, and we can still choose to actually perform even more transformational analysis if you want to. So let's just try something. Okay, let me say, use your enter, of course. If you know how to use SQL, okay, let me not assume like you know how to use SQL, KQL. Let me just go back. Okay, so to actually get to the next line, click press enter, and then use the pipe icon on your keyboard. I don't know if you know what the pipe means, but it's on your keyboard. I don't know. For mine, it's on the far right where I have my backward slash. I just click on my shift key and then I put the pipe. Yeah. So for KQL, you can actually use where if you want to, or you can actually use project. I just want to project. So let me see. I'm just going to say project, and it gives you an intelligence that helps you instead of typing or taking a lot of time. I just want to say project date. With a space. The intelligence is here, so it makes it even easy for us. I mean, amazing. Now let me just say project the high, give it a comma, project the low, give it a comma. Sorry. See how this intelligence works. It makes it easy for you. And then let me say I give it ticker. All right, and then I'm just going to run this code. So you see what happens? So just like SQL, KQL works just the same way. You can see it's filtered our data into dates, high, low, and ticker. Let's assume I want to choose to remove the low. I just want to project only the date, the high, and then the ticker. I'm just going to run this code. And you can see that. Let me expand this so that it looks better. You can see that it actually ran our data, you know. So it's very easy to analyze your data here, transform. You can actually save this if you want to. You can save it to dashboard if you want to. You can export it as a CSV file if you want to. If you want to move it to a Power BI report, you can still do the same thing. Let's just do a bit more transformation. Let's just try something. See, I would like to actually visualize what, let's say, from our stocks table 610, where Seeker, our intelligence is giving us that, which is great, is how? I'm just going to run this code. You can see it's brought out everything again. Yeah. And we can actually choose to say, okay, let's say, let's add the former. See, before you actually start a line of code, always put your pipe. Don't forget to put this pipe operator. Don't forget that, please, because that's how your code will actually work properly. And I'm just going to put everything we have done before. Check. Okay. IntelliSense makes it easy for me, so I don't have to stress. Open. Put my high, comma, high, and my ticker. All right, so I'm just going to run this again. Awesome. Now, if we actually choose to visualize, if we want to visualize it, it's very possible to do that. You know, there are different ways of doing that. But I just want to visualize it. Let me just show you something. So to visualize, I'll just say render. Remember, we are talking about the stock market. You know, we're working the stock numbers. So usually when you're working with that, we want to see it's like a time series. So you wouldn't necessarily just use a card. Okay, you have to be aware of the kind of visual you choose to show your data, right? So let me just put time charts. I think time chart works. And I'm just going to run this. Oh, wow. You can see that everything is just showing us. So we can see, just like Mr. Deji had mentioned, you can actually ingest, transform, and visualize on the go, So it's really great. It's a great thing to see. You can see the highs, you can see the lows, you know, showing just amazing. Let me just add a low here to this code. Let's see. Comma. Let's see. So this is better. Then on the side, you can actually do a visual formatting if you want to, you know, the colors are kind of alike, so you can actually choose to do a formatting on your X and Y column if you want that. You can actually also work on your series. Just like how you work with your Power BI, you can actually do that. You can work with the series color. You can change it. Let me click on the series color. All right, so these colors are almost alike, and for me, I'm like, I think let me just change the high, or maybe make the high green instead. You know, it looks better, and maybe I'll make the low red, which is great, and open. For open, I could use. Let me use this color. It's a bit alike because of, always try to consider the color blindness thing too. So you can actually choose another color. Let me choose this. Okay, I think this is okay. The color. I'm saying let my legend show, which is great. So you can see there's so much to do here. You know, it's just amazing. And then you can actually save this if you want to. You can save to an existing dashboard. You can save to a new dashboard. I had mentioned you can actually export it as a CSV if you want. And you can actually link it up to your Power BI report. All right, let's see. At this point, do we have any question, please? Concerning the code we just did, do you have an issue with the KQL code, how to actually use the KQL code? Any suggestion, any question? And I hope I can be heard, please. And I'd like to know, do you think KQL is actually simpler? Do you think it's easier than SQL? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear you.
it
Okay, so I asked the
it looks
question now.
simpler, but Looks
Sorry,
simpler,
said?
but I'm having the feeling that this can't be all without it.
Okay.
It can be all, okay?
Of course. It can be all, So most times, I mean, even with SQL, when you're starting, I'll start from, but I think for me, I think it's something that is easier. If you ask me, I think KQL is way easier than SQL. But there's a reason why I decided to show the transformation process, just for you not to be, for anybody here not to be worried that they can't do it. Anybody can do it, really. Yeah. So this is it. You can actually choose to add a new tab and then continue and create, another query set if you want to. And what else? What else? What else? Let's see. Okay, we've not gotten to monitoring parts yet. I think now module 3, we're going to explore that. Mr. Deji, please, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, so not really. I want to say a big thank you to June. She has been doing wonders. She has introduced us to Event Stream, Event House. She even went as far as creating KQL query. This is amazing. So thank you very much, June. I want to thank all of you that was able to make it this far. This marks the end of our week 3. So by next Saturday will be week 4. Please, for continuity, for support, please reach out to us on WhatsApp. Reach out to us on our, what's it called? On our meetup pages, or on, what's it called? This our platform, our Fabric
Fabric
community
community.
platform.
Yeah.
Please feel free to connect with us. Let us have your questions. Let us see how we can support you, and let us grow together. For those that need the account on WhatsApp, let me know. Let me profile you today before I will get busy from Monday. My schedule is always so tight. So let me see how much I can support you today. So let's take our conversation to WhatsApp now, or the community platform. On Fabric Community, just look for Data and AI Skill Development Initiative. On Fabric Community, you will see us there. Join us, drop your question, we'll pick it. If you need support, let us know. If you want us to reach you directly via email, let us have your email. We are always here to help. Muhammad, your hand is up.
Okay, yes, thank you very much to John and Mr. Ayodeji. I really appreciate this session.
Thank
So,
you.
like I said earlier, I've not been added to the group. I don't have any way to reach any of you yet. So, and I tried to even type in my number in the chat, but it's not working. So, can I just call the number and you
Okay,
can just
please
add me
go ahead and call
directly?
your number. I will add you to the group. Call the number, please.
Okay, 090
Okay.
7044
Okay.
5750.
Fantastic. So, Mohammed, I'm going to add you. Mohammed Usman.
Yes, thank you very much. This
Yeah.
was a great
Thank
session.
you.
Thank you. Okay. So, thank you all. Till we meet again next Saturday by 4 p.m. Do have a nice time, a wonderful week ahead, a week filled with practice of DP700. Bye-bye.
Right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.